Hello, today I'm going to do a small video on how to install an aux input jack to a 1998 Chevrolet Camaro SS LS1. And it's a problem that many people have with older cars, is that the sound system doesn't support an aux, so you can't use an iPod. It's harder to plug in a satellite radio, etc. Or if you use the FM transmitter style for the satellite radio, the sound is not very good. So I hope found a solution to that through the internet, and I'll show you what I did. You'll find a lot of information on the internet. There's my computer on how to install an aux jack into the Monsoon radio system, GM Monsoon, which is this unit from the 1998 Camaro. Pretty familiar, pretty common system in these late 90s, or actually all the 90s Camaros. It's actually a good sounding system, so it's makes sense to try to upgrade it. So looking at various Z28 and SS forums, LS1 forums, you'll see a number of articles which you can Google on how to attach the aux input. But I found the articles were good, but they're a little bit contradictory, and I did not see any YouTube videos that gave kind of a blow-by-blow on how to do it. And so I wanted to do that, and maybe allow you to get some close-ups on what it'll look like. So in short, I won't repeat all the steps because again you'll find them on the internet. But in short, once you remove the unit from the car, which is pretty straightforward, I use these tools here to pry the bezel off and get it out. These are just bezel prying tools. Two bolts to get it out. Pulled the unit into here, took the back off with a torque screw and a couple of small nuts on the back, or small bolts on the back. Took it off, and in here again, according to the instructions you'll find in the various Z28 LS1 forums, this connector here controls the CD unit in this Monsoon radio unit. And I'm had to go by trust on this, but if you're looking at the back of the radio, this is the back, looking at this CD connector with all the white wires going into it, and I've noticed in pictures there are a number of different colors of wires depending on the year, so you can't really go by the colors. This is all white except for one black. Apparently the wiring works this way, that the first wire is the left side input, left speaker input basically, or output from the CD. The middle, the second one in from the back is the ground. Third one in is the right. So what I've done is I've actually just stripped a part of each one of these wires. I've purchased this cable, a couple feet. In fact, I got it free at Radio Shack. It's audio-visual cable, 24 gauge wire, because these are tiny, tiny wires. And I've basically attach them into the wires. I didn't cut the wires, I just attached them in because I want the CD to also function. So I've got a left, right, and a ground. I've run the left, right, and ground. It just comes out through the cable. There actually were more conductors in this cable than I needed. They're all different colors, which is very handy. I've run them through the cable, and then I bought from Radio Shack this small 1/8 plug female aux adapter. And again, on the internet, I think you'll see a lot of people mention these. I think it was worth $1.25. It's meant to be mounted on a circuit board, but it's got the collar here, so I'll be able to find a mounting spot in the Camaro to put this little aux adapter. So I've soldered on to the soldering terminals the left, the right, and the ground, or the negative. And so I should be able to plug, an iPod or whatever I want to plug in there with a 1/8 inch or a 1/8 inch plug. Another modification, and different people have done this different ways, but I like the idea of this, is one person on the internet found the power cable to the CD unit, which is the 7th wire in. Count from, again, the back of the radio here. Count in 7 wires. It's the power to the CD unit. And I actually cut that wire in half I'm sorry, you can't really see with the mess of wires here, but I cut the wire in half and then put, took 2 wires from this cable, and then I ran it to a single pole, single throw switch. So basically the switch, when it's on, it completes the circuit. So it's as if the wire was never cut. The signal just goes through the switch. If I turn it off, it cuts off the power to the CD player. So the way this should work, and I'll continue the video later and demonstrate it working, is that when you put a CD in the Monsoon unit here, it starts playing. You can then use the switch to shut that off. Plug another source into this. So use the switch to shut off the CD to plug another source into this aux plug, which will be, say, your satellite radio or your iPod or your phone or whatever, and the power to the CD unit itself, not to the power amplifier for the speakers, but just the power to the spinner of the CD will stop, and your input will go into where the CD input usually was, and will be pumped out through the amplifier and through the speakers. That's how it should work in theory. And I'm going to mount these. I've got the car is in great condition. I don't want to start marking up the main bezel around this, so I'm going to probably run. The reason I've run so much cable here like this is so that I can run it into the glove compartment or that area somewhere where it's hidden, and I'm not going to deface a perfect car. And I've run the cable through. There's a lot of space where the antenna connection is. Even once the cover's on, there's actually a lot of extra space there. I'll still be able to connect the antenna in here, so just run the cable through there. I'm going to cover all of these soldering joints with tape, obviously, so they don't short out, and probably find a way to route this a little bit more neatly, the cable, so it's not in the way and doesn't touch anything. Put the cover back on, reinstall it, and see if I then have an aux connection. And I'll add that to a second video to see if it was successful. Thanks.